Madam Chair and Rules Committee members. This is an issue of right and wrong and trust in government. I thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Ms. Bonamici. Ms. Ansari, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome back from your 8 weeks of taxpayer-funded vacation. It's good to see you, and I hope
I'm going to interrupt you.
Republicans
I'm going to interrupt you, please. I am sick and tired of hearing you all say we had an 8-week vacation.
That's exactly what happened.
I worked every day. I don't know about you, but I don't want to hear another soul
We all worked
say that.
every single day, and that's exactly what happened with Speaker Mike Johnson.
You're recognized.
I hope that you all enjoyed yourselves while American families looked at their letters from their health insurance companies, terrified that their insurance premiums were going to double or triple while the House was out of session for 53 days. That is unacceptable, Madam Chair. Now, we are back here to vote on a terrible partisan spending bill that will deepen a healthcare crisis that you did create. By first stripping away Medicaid from 15 million people, that is a fact. I'm sorry that you deny that fact, but that is a fact of the matter in the bill. And by refusing now to extend the Affordable Care Act, healthcare premium subsidies that keep coverage affordable for American families. And you also did all of this while engineering the most unprecedented transfer of wealth from the working class and poor Americans to the wealthiest people in this country. That is another fact. The Republican shutdown lasted 41 days. It is the longest shutdown in American history. 41 days of unpaid federal workers and families losing access to food assistance. 41 days of families skipping meals and seniors delaying care because Donald Trump chose to use hunger and healthcare as leverage. The callousness and corruption is astounding. Donald Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson, throughout this entire time, did absolutely nothing. They did not lift a finger to try to negotiate a real solution on any of this. What was Donald Trump doing during this time? I know that he announced plans for his $350 million ballroom funded by billionaires and corporations. I know that he was traveling around the world to Asia. He hosted a huge Great Gatsby party. I don't know if anyone here was invited. The night before, 42 million Americans lost access to SNAP assistance. He is acting like a king while millions of people in this country are suffering. That is unacceptable. And Speaker Mike Johnson, throughout this time, he has not just enabled this corruption, he has actively participated in it. That's why I staked outside of his office last week, to be absolutely clear about what's been happening. Mike Johnson is starving Americans and gutting health care to cover up the Epstein files. And I want to explain exactly why and how he's doing so, because the public deserves to understand it very clearly. Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva, who is from my state of Arizona, would be and will be the 218th signature on the discharge petition. 218 is the number needed to force a vote on the floor, whether the speaker wants one or not. And when Adelita is seated tomorrow, finally, after 49 days since she was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, Speaker Johnson's going to lose control. Because then every single member of Congress on the Republican side and our side will have to go on the record and answer one very simple question. Do you want to support and protect the release of the Epstein files, or do you want to protect the names of the men who were involved in the crimes? That's the vote that Speaker Johnson has been running from. There's been plenty of reporting that the White House and Speaker Johnson have been actively working throughout this entire period to threaten the 4 Republican members of Congress who are on the discharge petition, to get one of them to come off of that discharge petition, because that is their #1 priority. That's what's been happening. It is a cover-up, and Speaker Johnson must and should be investigated. Now Republicans want to move on as though none of this ever happened. We cannot rush through a funding bill that raises costs and leaves families worse off in the middle of Trump's affordability crisis. So I have amendments at the desk, first to guarantee that the American people are not forced to subsidize Donald Trump's $350 million ballroom, a private palace where his billionaire donors will be rewarded with access and influence. These amendments also require complete transparency on which corporations and ultra-wealthy individuals are financing this project and what they are receiving in return. Second, to ensure that this bill cannot take effect until ACA premium tax credits are renewed, because if and when they expire, premiums will skyrocket and people will lose health care. The corruption and heartlessness of these policies must end. I urge the committee to support these amendments in order for us to have a real debate on protecting American families and on restoring trust in government that Donald Trump is dismantling. I yield back.
Mr. Subramanian, you're recognized.
Subramaniam. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one amendment. That's Amendment 23. This is the Republican payola that we've been talking about. And it's basically to strike this provision out of the bill. And this provision would simply allow so just to take a step back, because we've been talking about it here, but people might be joining in. But basically, Republicans in the Senate put this provision in, 8 or 9 of them, of the Senate Republicans would be given a legal pathway to force taxpayers to pay them millions of dollars over phone record collections during the January 6th investigations. It's a rewards program for Republican senators. And I would walk you through it, but the Republicans on this committee seem to know it well and have walked us through it quite well. It's $500,000 at a minimum per phone line, per offense. This could go up to $50 million per Republican senator, if you think about it. And it limits the government's ability to defend itself and defend these claims on behalf of the taxpayers. And so you're basically having these Republican senators being able to make these legal claims, and then the government can't even defend itself. It's just going to be rewarding these senators with cash, 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 cash. How is that not corrupt? And this is in the middle of an affordability crisis. $50 million, that's 1,000 times the average annual salary of a person in this country. Think about that, 1,000 times the average annual salary. Forget Democrat versus Republican, this completely undermines this entire institution and everything about it. This is why people hate Congress, is because they think we're all corrupt because stuff like this happens. And I've heard Republicans on this committee say that they agree that it's wrong. They agree that this is a wrong thing and that we'll fix it later. Well, you have the chance to fix it right now, and this is really the only chance to fix it right now. Because the reality is, the only way to right this wrong is to strip this bill of this amendment right now and send it back to the Senate and force them to vote on the bill without this provision. Because if you make them do it later on, they're never going to strip this amendment. They're not going to unenrich themselves. That's never going to happen. So this is our only chance to right this wrong. And this is corruption. It is theft and broad daylight, and anyone voting against this amendment to strip this bill, this corrupt provision, is complicit in that corruption. So I urge you to support Amendment 23 and not aid and abet corruption. I yield back.
I'll delay my questioning. Mr. McGovern, you're recognized.
Well, first, I want to thank you all for being here at this hour, and I appreciate it. I support all your amendments, and I think people are tired of us saying that we can't fix problems. I mean, people want us to fix problems. They want us to clean up corruption. They want us to make sure people have health care. They want us to respect our veterans. They want the Epstein files released. And we, and what's happening around here is you got a lot of people who are trying to have the, do the double talk. Yeah, I know, I'm with you, but we can't do it because of this, or we can't do it because of that. I mean, and so then nothing ever gets done. And I just want to say one thing about, there's been a lot of kind of negative talk about the Affordable Care Act, but I do want to point out, I mean, look, I believe we need a very different health care system in this country. But I do want to point out some of the good things about the Affordable Care Act. Again, it's polling at 64% favorability. Donald Trump is at 37% favorability. But just so people understand, the Affordable Care Act stops health insurance companies from charging sick people more in premiums than healthy people. It keeps those same health insurance companies from denying coverage to pregnant women, people with pre-existing medical conditions, or because of a person's medical history. It prohibits the health insurance industry from setting an annual or lifetime limit. It demands insurance companies cover most preventative services. It gives states the flexibility to expand their Medicaid programs, which 40 states have done. It provides financial assistance to working people to make health coverage more affordable. And it allows young adults to stay on their parents' insurance plans until they're 26. And those are just some of the provisions within the ACA that make it, quite frankly, popular with a lot of people. I wish the ACA went further. Some of us went during the debate, fought for a public option. We got frustrated by some of our colleagues in the Senate. But I just want people to understand that's what the ACA does. And again, I don't think, I would like to think that none of them are controversial. I don't know why my Republican friends don't like those things. But let me just say also, in addition, the last time Democrats were in control, we built on the progress made with the ACA. We allowed Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices for the first time in history, saving both Medicare and the American people billions of dollars. Democrats capped the cost of insulin at $35 per month. We made signing up for health care coverage easier and more affordable. Democrats lowered premiums by an average of $800 per person per year. And over 4 years, nearly 12 million more Americans signed up for insurance on the ACA marketplace, bringing the total up to nearly 24 million in 2025. And so, I think my Republican colleagues have made this case as they've attacked us for these, for calling for the extension of the ACA, enhanced credits, is that we have always been a champion for providing additional assistance to help make health care more affordable for people. They have been on the other side. I want to thank them for reminding the American people that we're always on the side of trying to lower their costs and not reducing the quality of their care. And I just want to say one other thing, and I appreciate the chairwoman, getting animated over the fact that the Republicans were basically not around for 7 weeks. I mean, the Speaker of the House basically abolished the House of Representatives during a time when, quite frankly, people are frightened to death over losing their health care premiums. And it really bothers me that there's not much support. So if Republicans are going to screw people over, at least they should show up. And they haven't worked for 8 weeks, they should show up. I move to adjourn, Madam Chair. People ought to show up at the hearing on health care.
Has made a motion to adjourn. Question is on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Mr. McGovern is going to request a recorded vote.
Yeah,
A recorded vote is requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach? No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman? Mr. Roy? No. Mr. Roy, no. Mrs. Houchin? No. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy? No. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott? No. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith? No. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack? No. Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern?
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Ms. Scanlon? Aye. Ms. Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse? Aye. Mr. Neguse, aye. Ms. Leger-Fernandez? Aye. Ms. Leger-Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair?
No.
Madam Chair, no.
Clerk will report the total.
4 yeas, 8 nays.
The motion is not agreed to.
Now everybody's here. Good. Okay. I yield back.
Does any member on the Republican side wish to ask a question of the panel? No. Ms. Scanlon, you're recognized.
Thank you, and I wanted to thank all the witnesses for coming in, particularly to talk about the stories of your constituents.